We are live. What is going on, internet world?
What's up,
internet?
What's
hey,
up?
What's going on?
We are here with Mike Lemme, all the way from New York City.
Mike, what's up?
New York City in the house. Originally from Massachusetts.
Yes, originally from Massachusetts. So he's representing everything tonight.
Everything. What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
What's up? Excited to have you.
Yeah.
Really
Looking
excited
forward
to
it.
have
It's
you.
Very professional stuff you guys got going on. I like it.
Yes, it is semi-professional with a little bit of cat interference. We apologize ahead of time for any cat interference that may happen. It all plays. It's like football. Just let it play.
Bring on the cats.
Exactly.
Make it happen.
So how was the train ride?
Train ride was good. I didn't buy an on-peak ticket.
Oh, nice.
Because it was on peak, but I bought the off-peak. They let it slide.
All
It was
right.
supposed to be an extra $5, but
shit.
I just looked sad and they let me go. Like, this guy needs to get home, so show my Massachusetts license. They felt bad for me. So there
Oh,
you go.
nice.
Awesome.
Works. Does that work in other avenues of your life too?
I
look-
just show
looking
my.
sad?
I just looking sad. Yeah. No. I wish it did. One day.
Yeah.
One day it'll work.
I'm just the sad guy in the corner.
The more podcasts I do, I feel like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it will.
The
Somebody's
more
gonna-
sad stories I tell, doors are gonna open.
So you moved to New York to be a comic, right?
To be a comic, yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. I want to kind of pick your brain about like the whole move to New York and
do it.
everything. So
Yeah.
you started in Massachusetts
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
comic. How long ago?
I started my first time on stage was like my 8th grade talent show, middle school
wow.
talent show, right? So I was doing stand up for a talent show, and then I didn't do it again for like 6 months, and then every month for like 4 years I would do it stand up once a month. So in high school I'd do it once a month, so it doesn't really count.
Yeah.
And then I got to college, I started doing it more and more, and then now in New York I try to do it at least once a night, and then so it's just been doing it for a while, but I've been taking it seriously for like 5 or 6 years probably.
Wow, that's awesome. How did that first time go at the talent show?
First time went well.
Nice.
I talked about George W. Bush
Oh,
because I was in 8th grade when George W. was there. I talked about Donald Trump and Ja Rule.
Oh, wow.
I think I closed on a Ja Rule joke.
How much time did you do?
I think I did 5.
It's murder.
I wore there's a video of this somewhere. Like they recorded it.
Oh, nice.
I wore a blazer with a button-down shirt and shorts. Don't know why. Don't know why the shorts. It was hot out, I guess.
So what was your classmates' reaction? Like, I'm sure you were the only one that did stand up.
Yeah, I was the only one, and they liked it. Like that was that kind of broke. I broke through because I wouldn't talk much in conversation. Like I was always a quiet kid,
Yeah.
but then they saw me do stand up, and they're like, "Oh, this guy. I guess he's funny. I guess he's cool." So it definitely helped me make more friends when I was in school.
Wow, I wish I had the balls to go on stage when I was in 8th grade.
I know. I remember when I was in. I don't think I was in 8th grade, but maybe 6th grade. But there was an 8th grader that did stand up.
Okay.
And he nailed it. I remember he was so funny, and I was always thinking to myself, I'd love to do that, but I never did it. No, we did a competition where we did Rob Bass, It Takes Two, and we like lip synced it. One of my friends did one. We had people dancing in the background and
See,
everything.
I could never do that. I could never do that.
That
Like,
was-
even now, like karaoke bugs me. I can't sing
Oh,
karaoke.
I
Like, I
know.
can't do that.
I can't do that either.
So to do that when you're in 6th grade, that blows
Yeah.
my mind.
Well, we ended up doing it in 8th grade. We were in 8th grade.
8th
We did
grade.
it, but
Alright.
apparently there's a video of it somewhere
Really?
floating around. Yeah, but that was like in 1990. So I mean, it was.
You still had the mohawk at the time.
Yeah, the mo. We were like, taking
the
horses.
genie pants.
Yeah, I think we did have the what do they call them? Those pants, like the weightlifters wear them now or whatever. But
Oh, the snap away pants.
no, like that. But the crazy like pants that had all the like windbreaker pants, I guess.
Hammer pants.
Yeah, like hammer pants.
Hammer
Yeah,
pants.
yeah, like
Oh,
MC Hammer
okay.
pants kind of.
Weren't those genie pants?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
I think like each
We called
era
them-
they call them something different.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
We had another name, but I'll remember it in the middle of the podcast. I'll just shout it out. That's what they were called.
I feel like lip syncing is like the go-to for like middle school talent shows. 'Cause we had those, and I feel like a lot of people were also doing that.
Yeah.
Because if you can do it well, it just looks so cool.
Yeah, it really does. We had like sunglasses on, and the lights were going crazy and everything, And I
Did
don't
you have
know.
a dance? You choreographed it?
Yeah, we were doing like the Running Man, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had one guy pretending to be the DJ in the background. I was up there like, I want to rock right now. I actually ended up doing the second verse because I knew the song so well.
Yeah.
I was the only one who knew the second verse. My friend, he had it was.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a lot of
nice.
fun. Yeah.
You had a solo.
Yeah.
Solo.
Yeah, exactly.
I
the solo lip sync.
That's awesome. I did a magic show in middle school, my talent show. Yeah, me and two of my friends. We basically just got like, those little like toy magic like act boxes you can get. Yeah. We just got those and like did magic tricks for everybody.
So what we're saying is none of us got laid. I mean, it was middle school, but
no, not at all.
Not at all.
I used to hear all the stories, but that was it. Oh boy!
But we were focusing on our dreams, guys.
Yeah,
exactly.
we really were.
Yeah.
One day, I almost met Rob Bass because they had him at a club that I used to DJ at. They had him come, but I think I wasn't there that night or whatever. I wanted to meet him so I could be like, I did you in 8th grade.
My idol.
I did you. You owe your success to me.
All right, so back to comedy. Back to you and comedy. So, so you did that talent show, and you did it occasionally for a few years after that. Mm-hmm. What made you want to get serious about it?
I think starting so young, I was like, I was already doing it. So I'm like, this is just what I didn't play sports in high school. I played tennis, but I don't know if that counts.
I played tennis too.
I sat on the bench for the tennis team, so things weren't going that well. But every that once or twice a month that I got to get on stage, it just felt so good that I just wanted to pursue it more and more. And even though I was only doing it once or twice a month, I knew that was my passion. So when I started going out to Boston and meeting other comedians, then I started to realize, oh, this could actually become something you do full time because you meet comics that are doing it. So it's definitely a long process. I'm still not doing it full time, but hopefully within the next couple of years that'll happen.
Nice. So you did it. How often were you in Boston?
I went to college in Easton, Massachusetts, which is like 20 minutes outside of the city. So I'd go in maybe like once or twice a week. I don't know, do an open mic and then maybe a showcase at the Comedy Studio or something like that.
So you got like a feel for the Boston scene before you moved to New York.
But I didn't talk to anybody. That was a problem. That's a common theme throughout my whole life. Is just like I was there, but I didn't talk to anybody, so no one knew I was there.
Yeah.
So that's why moving to New York has been such a complete change for me because now I actually like get to know the people that I'm doing these shows with. So it's so much better.
Yeah, it's key really to meet people and obviously,
talk to people.
You gotta really, because that's how you get shows. People are like, "How'd you get this show?" I know when I put on a show, people will say, "Hey, can I get a spot?" And that's how you get a show normally. It's like, well, it's people I like and then people that bother me. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
but that's
a combination of both.
You just gotta like get out of your own way and just just ask.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't be weird about it. I was always paranoid about like talking but not being weird at the same time. So then you just look like you look like a madman when you're just standing there in your own head. So it's hard to break out your shell.
Yeah, I'm learning that too. You got to talk to people. I feel like when we were in New York last week, I feel like there were people I should have talked to that I didn't, and it's like, I always get that feeling of like, damn, why didn't I like say hello to the open mic host or like just get their Facebook info or whatever, just network with them a little bit more. But I feel like you're really good at that.
Yeah, well, I've always been. I haven't always been good at talking to people. Actually, I meet people that knew me when I was younger, and they're shocked because I was really shy. Yeah. Super shy, like didn't talk to anybody. And then I had friends and stuff, and then I just progressed, and I just started meeting people basically and talking to people, and then I realized that what's the worst that can happen, I think you're getting attacked by a cat behind you. So now I just go for it. Like when I saw Jeff Lawrence at the open mic, I'm like, hey, come do the podcast. Worst he could do is just tell me to fuck off. But he was cool. We did it. So
and then it just opens doors. Like then they can introduce you to other people. So like as long as you make that first connection, it's just you never know.
Yeah, as long like you were saying earlier before the podcast. If people like you, you're not annoying, and then it helps when you're funny, obviously, too.
Yeah.
Or if you can bring something to the table that helps, like he was saying he had a car in the city, I got a speaker. It's like you're the kid with the football, so everyone has to call you to play. You know what I mean? So
they need you, man.
Yeah,
Without
I'm going,
they can't play football.
I should do that in the middle of one of the shows, just grab my speaker, I'm leaving, and just start leaving. Get all mad.
Like right after your set, you just unplug your speaker.
All right, guys, that's the show. What? Or if he says, like when I get off, if he says something funny about me, go, oh, that's it, I'm leaving. Just grab my thing and start walking away. Oh, man, that'd be fun.
Do it up.
Yeah, I think I should. Don't tell him. He doesn't watch this anyway. It's fine.
Oh, there's yeah. That's the plan. Okay.
You're talking about tonight?
Yeah, man, I wouldn't really leave with it, though. I would just pretend. I'm not that much of a jerk.
So, so you're doing comedy in the city. What made you move to the city? Like I know you said you were getting serious about it. Like I feel like it's such a big leap, being a Connecticut guy and being a Massachusetts guy and actually making that leap to go to the city.
When I when I was in college, I did an internship in New York, and that's when I my first time ever going to. I went to New York when I was a little kid. My dad took us to WWF New York and Times Square.
Nice.
How cool is that? That's the coolest place of all time. They had like a mini wrestling ring inside of the restaurant. It's great. But that was the only part of New York I knew. Like we only went there, and then I knew that like Conan taped a show at 30 Rock and stuff like that. So I always knew that I wanted to be in New York City. And then when I did the internship out there, it kind of just made me realize, oh, it's actually possible to live here. Like it's the hardest thing about doing stand up in New York is actually just living in the city and trying to eat and trying to pay your rent and stuff like that. But I always knew it was either gonna be New York or LA. Kind of I like Boston. Boston definitely helped me out a lot, but I just wanted to see what else was out there.
Now you said like living there, like just living there and eating and making ends meet is the hard part. Have you been like, how has the balance been like with like working a job and trying to make ends meet and doing stand up? Is it tiring? Or?
It's definitely tiring, but it's easier to do it because so many other people are doing it at the same time. Like because you're surrounded by people all the time that are focusing on different goals. So when I was in Massachusetts, I'd just be driving in my car by myself, going to these shows, and like I would see other comics there, but you don't really know their backstory. But in New York, you see the same people at every open mic every single day, and oh, they just got off of work. They're probably going to do this open mic, then they're going to do a show, then they won't get back till like 2 in the morning, then they'll wake up. So other people are out there doing it, so it kind of motivates you to keep doing it as well because someone else will if you don't.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always there's always butts for the seats or for the spots. There's always somebody that's willing to do it.
So many butts for the seats, man.
Yeah, you got to get the seats and then the butts. But yeah, I think a lot of it's right place, right time too. I don't know.
Absolutely, like a good thing to do is just hang out at shows.
Yeah.
And if someone's running late and the person that is running the show knows you're a comic or they've seen you perform, then the odds of you getting on that show just go up a ton just based on someone running late. So like just hanging out and getting to know people.
Yeah, they'll just throw you up there.
Just throw you up.
Yeah.
And then you bomb. That's the key. You gotta bomb, and then you gotta work your way out of that hole and be like, listen, that was just it was rare. Come on, give me another chance, man. Give me another chance. Come on, guy. And you just keep hanging out there after you bomb. That's the plan.
So what is like the process of like getting from an open mic to getting spots to eventually getting paid like in the city? Like
I wish I knew, man. I wish I
like what kind of spots are you getting now that you weren't getting when you first moved there?
I'm getting a lot of host spots, guest spots, check spots. I get paid for the host spots usually, depending on if it's like a weekend or depending on where the show is. I do a lot of shows at the spot called the Grizzly Pear in the Village, and those are just shows that everyone barks people in. So basically when I moved there, I started out barking. I'm there pretty much every other night. So you start out barking people in for someone's show, and then that person gets to know you. They see that you're funny, and then maybe you work your way up to hosting, and then maybe eventually you do like guest spots or longer sets. But those are fun shows because you never know what you're gonna get. So you can get like I've done shows there with 2 people, or I've done shows there with 50 people.
Oh, that's cool.
And then at the end of the night, you just pass around a tip bucket. And then usually the barkers get paid, and then the host gets paid, and then like if anything's left over, then like maybe you go out to get pizza or something like that. So a lot of stuff at the Grizzly Pear, and then you just start hanging out at clubs. You start hanging out at clubs or maybe bar shows. You get to know people, and then having someone vouch for you is even better. If you can have someone recommend you to the person that books the place, it helps out so much.
That's awesome. And for those who listen who don't know what barking is, if you're wondering, that
great.
means you have to stand outside the club and you try to tell people to come in. So you've probably been the subject of barking walking around New York City, like, we got a comedy show, come on in. That's what he's talking about.
When I first moved to New York, I would bark, but I'd also sell tickets in Times Square. So it's just so much rejection all the time.
Oh yeah, how was that?
It was brutal, but I was you would meet people that were good at it, like just standing out in Times Square. You'd meet all the other people, all the other promoters, and like you just learn tips from them, like how to get people's attention. But at the same time, it's just like constant rejection because you're just like, oh, you guys want to see a comedy show?
Yeah.
And they treat you like you're selling drugs or something like that. Yeah. So they just walk right by you. And that's how I was trying to pay my rent through. I had a day job, but that wasn't paying me that much, so I tried to do the selling tickets. And then at night I would go and do the same thing, but for stage time. Mm-hmm. So in the Village outside of it was the Lantern at the Village Lantern.
Oh yeah, okay.
For that too.
All right.
and there was just so much rejection all the time. So just I think the hardest thing about New York is just getting past that first year or the first couple months where you're just dealing with all the obstacles, and then it starts. There's still a ton of obstacles, but it gets slightly easier as you get used to the city. It's kind of like if you move anywhere, like the first couple of months are gonna be like getting your roots.
Yeah.
And then like once you get used to it, you get a schedule going. You meet people and stuff like that.
That's cool.
What are like the most like what clubs have you been able to get more spots in?
I do. I just hang out in the Village a lot, like Greenwich Village Comedy Club. I've been getting some check spots there. I do a lot of stuff in Tribeca Comedy Lounge. I host there, and just working your way up. And then I still go out on the road, Hartford Funny Bone, and I did some shows in Vermont like 2 months ago at coffee shops. So it's
How was that?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. It was really, really good because they have a good scene up there too. Because
Really?
there's always people looking for something to do, and they have these cool coffee shops that are open late. They sell alcohol after hours.
Oh, wow.
And they're just some fun shows. So if I can't find a club that like wants to book me, you got to find somewhere else, which is why the Village is so helpful. Like the Grizzly Pear, that's if you don't have a spot, go there and then maybe you'll get up. So like there's always somewhere you could be and trying to get up somewhere.
So is this something you do every day? Basically,
Try to do it. When I first moved to New York, I would beat myself up if I didn't do like 2 or 3 mics a night, but I don't do that anymore. It's more like I want to get up at least once a night.
Yeah.
But I want it to be a quality spot. Because you can go to New York and do like 5 open mics in a night, but if only one of them was good, and you only learned something from one of them, and it's like, what? I kind of wasted my time for the rest of the mics.
Yeah, do you feel like I know a lot of mics in the city have a reputation of just being the kind of mic where everybody in the audience is a comic, nobody's really that into anybody else going up. So like if you do so many of those, it really feels like was that really worth it, or did I learn anything from it? Have you had that feeling?
Yeah, definitely, but it makes you stronger at the same time, especially when you first move there and you're starting to take it more and more seriously. It's like you need to have those moments where you're just like, is this really worth it? And because when you do have a good set, it's going to mean so much more having to go through all the bad sets, like the bad open mics, the shows at the Pair when there's only like 1 or 2 people there. But then when it all clicks and you have that good show, you're like, oh, it's worth it. And then you're fine with dealing with the bombing and doing all these open mics because there's actually, I'm funny, like this can actually work out. Yeah. Depending on the situation. Like the goal is to like become funny anywhere, any place, but like you still gotta bomb.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have a car too?
I used to have a car, then it broke down.
Oh shit!
I brought my car out there for 6 months. And then I was hosting at the Funny Bone, driving back to New York, and it broke down one night.
Oh, shit.
It was on a Sunday night, driving back to New York, and it just broke down on the side of the highway.
Oh.
And I got a tow to like a random mechanic in Connecticut, and it's just left it there because I couldn't afford to. I guess it was totaled.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't afford to fix it.
Here you guys go. It's your car now.
So what did you do that night?
I took a bus from. I got the tow truck driver to drive me to the Hartford bus station, and then I had to obviously I had to pay for it, so I didn't get him to do it. I had to pay for it, and then I took a bus back at like 2 a.m. and then I had to go to work the next day.
Oh my god!
But the weekend was so good. Those shows.
Yeah.
Like if I bombed on those shows, I would have been miserable. But the shows went so well that I was just like, oh, I probably deserve this. Like I probably deserve the car to break down. I was like, something bad was bound to happen.
Yeah, it's right. It's the yin and yang.
Because especially like when you have a really good show, you're just like, all right, something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. Did you host there at the Funny Bone or yeah?
Yeah, I've been hosting. I try to host there at least once or twice a year. It's like such a good spot.
How do you get into their hosting?
I started out hanging out at they used to do an open mic at Nomads Adventure Quest. It's kind of down the street from the Funny Bone, I guess. And I would hang out there. I'd do that open mic, and then I got to know the people that run the club, and I would start hanging out at the shows, and then doing the open mic at the Funny Bone.
Oh, okay.
And just being around, and then once you get to know the person, you get their email address, you send them a tape, and then see what happens. And then the thing is, you just gotta keep emailing them, not like every week, but like every couple of weeks, just because it gets so many emails a day that you just want to make sure that yours doesn't get lost.
Yeah.
And that was a hard thing I had to get used to, is like trying to, like, you're not being annoying, you're just being, you gotta be persistent, but not annoying.
There's like a fine line. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I feel like I struggle with. I worry too much that I'm being annoying.
Gotta stop worrying.
Yeah,
I
I know.
myself. Man.
Most people will tell you. That's what I like about Pat Oates, because he tells you, all right, you're being annoying. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's the best.
it's perfect.
If everyone could be like Pat Oates, this world will be a better place.
Yeah.
Pat, I need you to book me for some shows.
Yeah, he doesn't watch this, so you're wasting your time.
no.
I could tell him you said it, though. Come on.
Need some spots, Pat. Some spots.
Come on, Pat. Hook him up.
Who were the headliners when you did Funny Bone?
What was it? The one when my car broke down, it was Charlie Murphy. That was awesome.
Wow.
I worked with I hosted for Godfrey,
Wow.
Ari Spears, Mike Kaplan. Just they have some great shows there.
Yeah.
Because like whenever I try to look at the schedule, and then like whenever I see someone like, oh, I really wanna host for them, just to like pick their brain about comedy, like I send out an email as soon as I see it, as soon as I see that they're gonna be there. So I just keep following up.
So did you got to talk to all of them?
Yeah, not a lot, but like just making small talk, and then once in a while like maybe a conversation about comedy, and you just that's my thing, is like I'm trying not to be annoying with other comics, so it's just like you wanna there's a fine line, so it's just like making small talk, and if they're cool with the small talk, then maybe bring up like asking for advice or something like that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. If they're into it, but if they're not, you're just like, all right, whatever.
If they're not into it, then you just hang out at the bar.
Yeah.
Now I know Mike Kaplan is in New York. Have you run into him since at all?
He's doing great, because I met him at the Comedy Studio when he used to run an open mic in Boston, and then he was working every night, and he was at the Comedy Studio a lot. Then I guess he moved to New York, and he started getting on TV, and now he's got specials on Netflix. So he's one of those guys that like you can see, oh, this can work out if you just keep going.
Yeah.
And he's a super nice guy, hilarious, and yeah, it's cool to see. It's cool to see people go from starting out to like where they are now. That's an awesome thing to experience.
Yeah, I think that's like when it really like you start to realize like you can do this. Like that's when it becomes a reality. Like
anything's
you said.
Possible, man.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I think the persistence, like you said, is key, and just keep doing it, keep doing it. Eventually, you're gonna get there.
It's like anything.
Yeah, it really is. The people just I think people give up sometimes way too easy. But right now, it feels like there's a lot of comics. Like there's this huge.
Yeah, there's been an explosion.
Yeah,
really?
From like I've heard from a lot of people. Like,
what's happening? What happened?
There's just a lot. Like there's more comics now than ever.
He's from you can't. He lives in New York. You can't say explosion around him.
Oh,
because,
hey, yeah, too soon, man.
Yeah, too soon.
Too soon, man. But that's the thing. You gotta stay in the game. You gotta stay in. Because I've known a lot of people that when I started out, they don't do comedy anymore. So it's interesting to see, like on Facebook, when you pull up someone that doesn't do comedy anymore, you're like, that dude used to be, or that woman used to be hilarious, and then they don't do. It's like, what do you do? I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do without comedy.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah,
that's how I feel. I mean, I started late in life, but now I'm like, I want to do this forever. You know what I mean? Like I just, whatever, man.
Paranoid about getting chicks pregnant. You never know, man. You never know.
Yeah, I know, right?
Because you just want to keep doing comedy.
So is there like one show that like sticks out in your head that you've done in New York so far that's been like your best show there?
Best show in New York. Most interesting show. I don't know about the best show is. Probably one of the shows at Tribeca Comedy Lounge.
Okay.
They always pack the place out, and it's just I host there a lot. Sometimes I do spots, and I don't know. It's hard to think about one particular show. You can always remember when shows go badly.
Yeah,
but it's just like,
well, if you want to tell one of those stories, if it's cool.
I'll tell. I used to do the naked comedy show. I used to stand up naked for when I was in Boston.
And you stood up naked?
Yeah. I did it 7 times. Because they do it at Improv Boston once a month, and the first time I did it was like the best set I've ever had. It was completely naked. I only talked about being naked for a minute, but I did like a 10-minute set, and it was the best set ever. And then I did an internship in LA my senior year of college, and I came back and I hit up the dude that runs the Naked Comedy Show, and was like, man, I gotta close out the show. I've been doing stand up in LA. I'm a better comedian now. I want to close out the naked show. I want to do like 15, 20 minutes on a naked show. So he's like, all right, fine, you can do it. And so the show's going great. And then I have them give me an intro music. So I come out to it's like some I think it was Marvin Gaye. I think it was Marvin Gaye. Let's Get It On.
Oh no!
And there was like disco lights playing. I'm the last comic. I walk out completely naked. I get on stage and I bomb for 15 minutes.
Oh my god!
Completely naked, and that was the last time I ever did the naked comedy show.
It's like shame all over, naked and
you're
bombing.
bombing, so you feel like they would just laugh out of sympathy, but that crowd did not feel sympathetic. I think it might have been the intro music, or I was too cocky. I was too cocky about it.
Yeah.
But it was just the worst experience.
Wow, that's crazy. Is the audience naked too?
No, I think they're doing one at the Creek in the Cave now, where the audience can be naked, but that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole concept's weird, but
yeah. What is the atmosphere like at those
fun.
naked shows versus a regular show?
Man. Because that's the thing, you kind of just forget. I would never do it now because I'm trying to like make a career for myself. So I don't really like that you can't have a video out there about you doing naked comedy. But like when you're just starting out, it's like why not? Because it was so much stage time that no one, when I would do it in Boston, there was only like 5 or 6 comics that would do it, so you knew it was guaranteed stage time.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I feel like
after the first time, you just get over it, so you're just more and more comfortable until you bomb, and then you just stop doing it.
Wasn't somebody just talking about that? Who were we talking to that did naked comedy?
They do one in New York now once a month.
Yeah.
Did you say it was in Boston?
Yeah, there's one in Boston, Improv Boston.
I feel like I might have heard Joe List say it on his podcast.
Was it
he
him?
might have done it.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Andy O'Fish runs it. O'Fish, something like that.
Oh, okay.
And then he runs the one in Boston, and then they started doing one in New York too. I did it in New York on my 21st birthday.
Oh wow.
And
the naked show?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Wow.
And then and then a year later I did it. That's the time I bombed. A year later.
Do you remember the other people who were on that show with you?
I don't remember them, but I remember like the first or second month I was in New York, I was at an open mic, and this comic came up to me and he's like, "Hey, what's up, Mike?" And I didn't know who he was, and then he was like, "We did a naked show together, man." So like I didn't know who this dude was, and he already he saw me naked before, so it was very uncomfortable. But now he's a good friend of mine.
Oh, all right, that's good. Yeah.
So it's a happy ending.
For everybody.
For everybody, yeah, everybody.
He like puts his zipper down. You recognize me now?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember now.
2011. Yeah.
Never forget.
Oh man. Wow, that's insane. Those naked
Gotta get the
shows.
stage time, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. I don't know if I don't know. Would you be able to do it?
I don't think I would.
No, I don't know, man. Maybe.
Really?
I might have to have a drink or two or something.
Now I would just be paranoid now about someone like taking a picture.
Was there a big audience?
There was a good amount of people.
Yeah, but you're right. Back then, there wasn't like the phone camera prevalence and everything, right?
Yeah, it wasn't nothing. I don't think Instagram was around, but I remember there was a crew like filming a documentary, and they made sure everyone signed a release. I didn't sign the release, so if that ever comes out, maybe I can sue them and make some money.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Because that's the most uncomfortable thing is when you see a video camera and you didn't sign the release, and you're like,
Yeah. Like,
what's happening? What's happening?
Oh my God. Naked comedy.
Yeah, I wonder who came up with that idea. Like sitting around going, I have an idea.
I don't want to put my clothes on, but I want to do the stand-up.
Let's do comedy naked. These guys are already embarrassed about their jokes that are maybe not working. What could make it worse?
But you forget.
Do you really though? You really forget?
Because and then you gotta be funny.
Well, yeah, because if you think about when you go up on stage, you pretty much forget about everything anyway. Kind of.
Yeah,
that's
true.
around you. You're so in the moment.
And then you look down and you're like, oh, hey.
Like, oh, hey, what's up, dude? All right.
I didn't know you were here too, man.
I would love to do your naked comedy show, but I have a crazy case of the herpes tonight. I can't come down.
That would be hilarious.
Did you get paid for it or anything?
No. That's the funniest part about it.
No.
Not rarely, but like I'm starting to get paid more now, but it's still a lot of free shows. I don't do it naked anymore, but it's just like it's so rare that you get this. It just feels so good when you do get paid, even if it's in food or something. It's just like, this means something.
Yeah.
get some drink tickets or something like that.
When
But
you
a lot
said
of free shows.
before you said check spot, what do you mean by that? I don't think
Check spot is when you go on stage and everyone in the audience is paying their bill, so no one's paying attention to you for like the first minute.
Check. Oh, well, check drop. Okay,
Check
yeah.
drop,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
I've heard of that. Okay, gotcha.
So that's kind of people say it's like the hardest spot in the show because no one's paying attention to you.
Yeah.
So in order to get them to pay attention, you gotta
Gotta
just
work.
do something. You gotta like make sure. I don't know if you start picking on someone in the crowd or you just like wait for them to pay attention to you, but there's gotta be a strategy. You gotta have a strategy going into it because if you don't get them within the first like 30 seconds, it's gonna be hard to climb out of it even when they're not paying their bill.
Yeah.
Because like you don't have that connection with them.
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta get them right away, or else it's gonna be really really hard for you to do well.
What do you do for your strategy? Sorry, Adam.
No,
Is that
it's-
what you were gonna
no,
say?
no. Yeah.
Lately, I've been like trying to. I watch the show, and then like if something interesting's happening in the crowd, if the host talks to someone in the crowd and they have an interesting story, I try to like bring that back and ask them a question about it. But sometimes it doesn't work because if you go to ask them a question and then they get the waiter hands them their bill as you're asking the question, then you lost them.
Yeah.
So then you have to find someone else real quick before they get their bill.
Oh wow.
But I've seen some people just like stand there for like 20 seconds just so the audience realizes, oh, there's someone on stage. But there's different ways to approach it.
I bet it's a good way to learn crowd work or to
Yeah, I
get
was
better
gonna
at
say,
crowd
yeah.
work. You know, like
That's the great thing about spots like the Grizzly Pear and the Lantern is that if there's 2 or 3 people there, if you just go up there and do straight jokes, it's probably not going to do as well as if you make it seem conversational. So you talk to them, but you're really doing your routine because then it makes them seem like you're doing this for the first time. So you just try to make it a unique experience for them.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So you would say like crowd work is probably like the key for doing check drops.
Yeah, you want
versus
to
like
do
regular material.
You just want them to be aware that like the situation. So like you can open up a crowd work, but then try and get into the material, but just stay loose.
Do you bring up the fact that like, oh, I know everybody's paying their checks, but like, you know, like do you bring up
When
the
I
fact?
first started doing it, I did, but then now I just try to like address something that happened throughout the show.
Okay.
Because you don't want them to feel bad for you. You just want to get their attention and get into your set. And you only have like 5 minutes, so that's like the hardest thing to do is like
Yeah.
you want to work on this set, but you have to spend like a certain amount of time just getting them to pay attention. to
Yeah,
you.
get them on board.
Yeah. I was just gonna say before, a comedy is so crazy because it's like, you know, the newer you are at it, the harder the job they give you. Like
Yeah,
hosting
yeah.
a show
Yeah.
and like having to the shows that I've hosted, I always felt like I had to keep track of everybody's time and then get everybody the light.
Right.
It's almost like I felt like I was running the show. And then just like you were saying before, being the new guy and having to do the check drop spot, I feel like comedy, it's like they throw you to the wolves like right
Yeah, they
away.
really
There's
do.
nothing worse than bombing as the host. Like
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes me, because then you're just at least I'm just in my head the whole night. Because even if someone else goes up and doesn't do well, I'm like, that's my fault. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm the
you got
host.
to
Like,
continually
you
see
gotta-
these people
Yeah.
still. It's not like you can leave.
If
you
they
know?
don't like you up the top,
Yeah.
and then you have to come up like 4 more times, like that's not gonna be good.
Yeah.
And then you try to throw a joke in there and there's just nothing. You're
Just
like,
nothing.
"Oh,
Like, and the next
okay."
comedian.
Yeah, and then the audience feels like, you know, if you're the first comic up and you don't get them to laugh, suddenly like the whole show loses legitimacy,
Yeah.
like in their mind.
Yeah.
Even though it's a great show, but yeah, I feel like that's a good mentality to have as the host though, because then like it forces you to get stronger instead of just being the host and like coming up with excuses like, oh well, you know, they didn't get me and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's this really great host in New York, James Mattern. He used to go by Mad Dog.
Okay. Yeah.
And like I heard him say once that like the host is the point guard,
Mhm.
so like you can take your shots, but you want to make everyone else look good. You gotta pass. So you're the guy that like has to make you gotta start the momentum, and
Yeah.
then you gotta keep the momentum going.
Mhm.
So like you don't want to. I don't like when hosts go up there and just do their set without acknowledging that they're hosts. But
Yeah.
at some spots you can do that, like at Foxwoods you can do that because like they do the announcements before the host comes up, so it's kind of like the announcer already started the show, so you can just get right into your jokes. And plus, that's such a big room that it's hard to do crowd work when no one can see who you're
Yeah.
talking to.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
it
no,
makes a lot of
that's great
sense.
advice. Yeah.
I know, yeah, because I know a couple people. I'm actually going to have a conversation with this guy I know, and he hosts stuff, and he'll do a lot of time in between, and no matter what it is, like if it's an open mic or a show, and it's like, yo, you got to got to move this thing along.
Yeah,
You know, like,
because there's so many comics waiting
Yeah.
to go on, and
Yeah.
they're gonna get tired.
and the audience also is going to be like, "What's all right? We get it," you know. So
Oh yeah, yeah. That is a problem with some.
But hosting's a good way to get if you can host well. That's a good way to get on stage, especially in New York, is because a lot of people, for some reason, a lot of people don't want to host shows.
Mhm.
But
really?
if you can find a way to like get into your act, it's a good way to work on your set while working on crowd work and stuff like that. So I think it makes you stronger for when you're doing a longer set. Because if you're doing a longer set and your material's not going well, then you'd have to go into the crowd to win them back, and then you can go back into jokes.
Mhm.
So it's a good skill to have.
how long do you normally get hosting in New York shows? Is it always different? Or
It
is
depends.
yeah.
Usually, the longer the better as a host. Like if you can do like 10 to 15 as a host, that's awesome. But some spots you have to do like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And 6 minutes is a really hard thing to do as a host because everyone's still getting settled, getting their drinks, and then you're a comic at the same time, so you want to like work on your jokes, but you gotta get them to pay attention first.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's rough.
That is.
They just changed it at Joker's where they're going to be doing the hosts before would do 5 up front, and now they're going to be doing 15, but they're going to be paying them. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
The host should definitely get paid on any show, because they commit their whole night to it pretty much.
Yeah, they're doing most
the
of
whole
the work.
night. They have to keep the energy going. The host is such a hard spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
I'll be happy to host sometime at Joker's Wild.
Yeah,
I'd love
hit up Pat tonight.
If anyone's a feature.
Yeah, we'd love to. And if you're listening tonight, come down, check us out. We're going to be going to the open mic afterwards.
Oh, wait, my first time at the Joker's Wild open mic. I've heard so much about this.
7:30 p.m.
about this open mic.
Get your butt there. It's like $5 and you get a free drink. Quit bitching.
Quit bitch.
Go watch comedy. Hashtag get off the couch. I know you worked all day, but screw you. I played poker all day. Okay.
Making money, man.
Yeah, you gotta pay the bills and keep the lights on somehow, right? These cats don't feed themselves.
That's right.
I think we put the cats to sleep.
Yeah, we
did.
Oh, they're looking around now.
I don't care about these check spots.
Yeah, not at all. They're like, yeah, you bore me. You bore me.
What's the longest amount of time you've done? Like the longest single set you've done?
The longest set I've done is probably a half hour.
Wow.
But that's with crowd work and stuff like that. So I'm working on, I'm kind of doing a one-man show originally it wasn't supposed to be a one-man show. It was supposed to just be straight stand-up, but the more I've been working on it and the more people have been talking to me about it, I think I might make it a one-man show. I'm doing, it's called the Frigid Festival. It's the end of February 20th. Is my first show, and I'm trying to do 45. I'm trying to do 45 minutes. I'm gonna have someone host and do like 15, because you only have the theater for an hour. So, and once you're done, you have to, like, the next show comes in. So that's like the new challenge for me, is to try to fill 45 minutes, but also have it be more of a story, I guess.
Yeah. So what actually is the difference between a one-man show and stand-up?
I wanted it to be just an hour of stand-up, but the story is just the difference is, I think not everything has to be hilarious. Like with an hour of stand-up, like, you need to have like every minute you have to have so many big belly laughs. But with a solo show, it's like it still has to be funny if you want it to be a comedy. But at the same time, you gotta get used to as a performer, I'm gonna have to get used to the silence, because if they're just listening to you. Because I've been doing a lot of jokes about my family, and then sometimes people come up to me and be like, yeah, man, that was great, but they weren't. I could see them not laughing, but they're like, yeah, we were listening to you.
Yeah.
So like, they're enjoying it, but they're just paying attention. So it's gotta be difficult as a performer to get used to that. Because as a comic, we want laughs. But like here, it's like they're listening, then they'll laugh. So that's gonna be weird to adjust to.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, because you did 30 at Murphy's,
and
you were talking a lot about your family.
A lot of crowd work.
But you were talking about your family, and people were listening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then they're like, "Oh, that's sad," you know. But it was great entertainment. So I think that is a really good idea, definitely.
Yeah, it seems like
you could tell a story. Oh no, it's fine. You could tell a story, and then you could make people laugh. But like you said, you don't have to have them laughing.
It's
constantly.
just a different format. Like as a comic, I want to do, like, I'm definitely gonna do an hour of stand up eventually. But like, I guess this is just a different format, a different challenge to see if I can do it.
Yeah, no, it seems like a natural, like, smooth transition, like setting this up first, and then, you know, setting up a stand-up later.
One of my favorite comedians is Christopher Titus, and
Yep.
he's a guy that, like, it seems like a one-man show, but it's strictly stand-up, because every he's one of those guys that, like, every minute there's so many big laughs, but he's telling these really emotional stories.
Yeah,
So if I
yeah,
can
I've
get
heard
to
a lot
that
of
point,
his,
it's
yeah.
great. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
so good.
he
And
is
he's
really good.
consistently good. He has like 5 or 6, maybe 4 or 5 hours out, and it's all like really emotional stuff, but it's hilarious at the same
Yeah.
time. It's great.
Wow.
Yeah, he has a really good niche for that, for kind of taking crazy things that happen to him in his
He just
life
makes it funny.
and just make it funny. Yeah, because
Yeah.
inherently it really is. If you step back, it's fucked up, but it is funny. You know, I mean, but yeah, you just gotta let everyone know it's okay to laugh. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Now he does a lot of family stuff,
Yeah.
Titus, right? So
Family stuff,
do
yeah.
you do a lot of family stuff too? Is that where you pull a lot of your
I'm
material?
trying to get into it. Yeah, it's mostly now I'm talking about moving to New York and like getting self-esteem and starting to like talk to people and overcoming the like growing up in the suburbs and having to hide my family from other people and stuff like that. So it's definitely something that's what the show's all about, is trying to talk about my family, and like this is like the only outlet I found to like talk about it, because like if you bring it up with women, or like if you're on a date with a chick and then you just open up about your family, it's like, oh wait, you gotta slow down.
Yeah, right.
So like with stand up, where this one man show is like you can just talk about it,
Yeah.
and there's no judgments really.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's great.
These cats are asleep. The cats
Yeah,
are definitely
you
asleep.
Put 'em to sleep. That's right. They got excited before and
Poor
they're running
cats.
around. So that's their life. They run, then they sleep, then they
That
run, then they
sounds
sleep.
that sounds great, but terrible at the same time.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
They never leave this apartment. They never leave.
Right?
Well, they go to the vet. So
I know, yeah. But it's just, you know, like this is their one. This is where they live.
I know. Yeah, I had cats when I was younger, but they were outdoor cats.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered making them outdoor cats?
No,
Can you do that?
there's coyotes around here.
Oh.
Yeah.
They could take them.
Yeah, just that and the road right there's main road's busy. Plus,
Yeah.
they get fleas, then they get ticks, and they get sick, and just a lot of people say.
So we got 2 viewers.
Oh, we
now?
got 2 viewers.
got
Yeah.
two.
We got to
Yeah.
bump this up.
All right, let's go.
We gotta
Tell your
break 10.
friends about this.
Gotta
Tell them
break
it's we're putting cats to sleep here. We're like ketamine right now. We're like special K. We're in a K hole.
Any other stuff coming up for you? Any other shows other than the one man show you got planned?
Well, that's what I'm working on right now. I'm gonna be in Boston doing a run through of the show on February 7th, and then the show starts February 20th at the Under St. Mark's Theater. It's a great venue, and hopefully you can get some people to come check it out. There's some weird. I have 5 shows for the festival, and some of them start at like 2:00 on a Saturday, so it's gonna be interesting to do this. Like, I feel like it has to be this one man show type format, because doing stand up at 2:00 on a Saturday is just gonna be painful. So hopefully, we get some people out that are interested.
Now, how did you set all that up? Was it just as simple as getting in communication with the people who were organizing the festival?
Yeah, because it's kind of like a mini version of the Fringe Festival.
I've heard of
in
that, yeah.
Edinburgh. So I know a couple people that did that festival, and their advice to me was to start out smaller. So this festival, the Fringe Festival, is like a whole month of you doing an hour, but you have to promote the show at the same time. So like you're responsible for getting people into each one of those 30 shows. This one's only 5 shows, and I still have to promote it while I'm writing it at the same time. So it is kind of stressful, but it's it's kind of like a stepping stone to see if I could do that Fringe Festival one day. But it's just from like talking to other comics and getting their advice on it.
Where do you find the time to like write all this stuff? I mean, if you're working a day job and you're hitting a mic every night, like do you have a job that's flexible where you can kind of work on this stuff a little bit while you're at work?
Yeah, right now I'm temping. Hey,
All right.
I'm out here temping.
What up, temps?
What up, temps? Shout out to all the temps out there. Because when I first moved to New York, I was working on a lot of different TV shows, which was fun, but like it didn't give me enough time to do stand up. And then I got this job at a content marketing firm, and I was terrible at it because I was just doing like cold phone calls, like just calling people that didn't expect you to be calling them, and I was just so bad at that because I just felt bad.
Yeah. I interrupted your dinner.
Yeah.
Do you want to buy something?
Buy some ad space for this thing you don't know about.
Yeah.
But
That's
at the
gotta be
job,
tough.
my boss kept telling me like you got to work smarter, not harder. So you got to break down like every hour of the day into like every hour a day. There's 60 minutes in an hour. So like you got to make sure like you can do something with all those minutes. And I wish actually I don't wish I knew that then, because I still would have quit the job. But like, that would have made me so much better at that job if I knew how to break down the hour into like everything I want to do. So just like set a schedule and try to stick with it as close as possible, and then see what happens.
Have you been moving quickly from one job to another?
I've been temping at this one spot for like 6 months.
Okay.
But I don't know. They just I kind of like it that they just keep me as a temp because like it's not as much responsibility. Because then if I got hired full time, then like I'd start to think about that more and not about I want to stay focused on stand up. So like if I got hired full time at this company, then that would kind of like take my mind off of comedy, and I don't want that to happen.
Do they know you do stand up?
Yeah. They've been asking to come to a show for a while, but I haven't. Like, I'm gonna invite them to the festival thing that I'm doing. But it's weird because I'm super quiet at work because I just put my headphones on. I just like I don't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
But they know I do stand up. So who is this weird person? Like, they probably don't even believe I do stand up. So, and then they're gonna come see the show and it's all about my depressing family.
Yeah, they're like, whoa. All right, put those headphones back on.
I know
And
exactly.
then I'm
how
gonna have
you
to find a
feel.
new job. Hopefully this picks up. I don't know.
Yeah, that's great that you can open up about it. I feel like sometimes, like, if you get a day job and you tell the people you work with that you do stand up, it's almost like this thing that that they don't understand it, so
It's
they
taboo,
feel like
yeah.
it's too unbelievable.
Mhm.
Like, you do stand up, what are you talking about? You
Because
know?
luckily I've been getting more spots on the weekends or on the road, so like I have to take certain days off. So like if I just kept taking days off, they'd ask me like what's wrong with me. So I just like I might as well just be upfront and be like, oh, I do comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think especially people think that, Adam, if you're not like the loud class clown
Yeah.
funny person at your job.
When you're just a weirdo with your headphones.
Yeah.
on,
Like,
that's me.
you do comedy, like, for who?
Right,
For
right,
cats?
right.
All right. we
Tell me
get
a
it.
joke. Huh?
Yeah, that's the best.
Oh,
That's why,
that's
that's
the
why I
worst.
keep the headphones on.
Tell me a joke.
Yeah, I feel like
Oh, wait,
that's
lost
automatically.
Lost a viewer. Guys.
Oh, man. I
One
hope they didn't
cat.
kill themselves. That already happened. One of our viewers just off themselves.
Hilarious.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I feel like that's always the follow-up question.
Did
Oh,
you tell me to do
stand-up?
stand-up with your interview? You got an interview today? Did you
It's
tell me
it's
to
funny
do
you mentioned that. Yeah, no, because they said, they were like, if you could just up and do any job you wanted to tomorrow, what would it be?
that? I'd work for this company, sir.
Yeah, I would
Or
be.
madam?
Yeah, I'd be a president at Enterprise.
So I said, I just said stand-up comedy. It ended up being the perfect answer to give them because they just laughed it off. Like, in their head, it would be the same as if I was like, oh, I want to be a dragon.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like,
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
You want to be a dragon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like,
you sure you
we're-
don't want to give up on your dreams and sit here like me and and hate my life? And you sure you don't want to do that? Come on. You
That's
need a retirement fund, right? What are you gonna do when you're older?
The scariest thing to me is people that sit in the same cubicle for years.
Yeah.
That horrifies me. Like they just
That
start
is.
getting pictures of their family in the cubicle.
Yeah, and then the
It's like
picture of the
biggest-
beach.
yeah, they got the beach, and then they got the eventually it's gonna be their son graduating from preschool or their daughter, and then like it's just
Ugh.
get out of
Exact-
that cubicle.
That's why you do comedy.
That's why I do comedy.
Yeah,
That's exactly. I was in that environment for years because I sold cars.
Okay.
And then I was a sales manager and all this stuff. So I was in that. But the whole time I was a comedian, just in that body. Like finally, oh my God. Well, I got out of it and I started DJing, which was much better for me.
Right.
But then I started doing comedy. Now I just feel like, I still work hard at it every day, but I just feel like I'm doing what I should do. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. 'cause
Whenever I start a new job, I just pretend like I'm an actor training for a role. Like I was a busboy for a while, and I'm just like I'm a comedian guy. I'm not a busboy. I'm just here to like see how this works.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great to have though. Like, because as soon as you start thinking more about, the job being more important, the day job being more important than comedy, then that's how you become one of those people that you're talking about before.
That's when
where
you
it's
work
like-
your way up in the company, man. Become a vice president someday. You know?
Middle
Yeah.
management.
Middle man.
What was that commercial? It's like, I want to claw my way up to middle management. When they're talking to the kids, like, what do you want to be when you get older?
Oh yeah.
No
No one wants to work in a cubicle.
No,
no.
that's rough, man.
No.
They're shoving people in there, though. And I feel like the way, because my friend has a son that's in school, and they were talking about all this Common Core stuff and whatever, and it feels like they're jamming kids and they're getting them ready to sit in a cubicle. you know,
yeah,
like,
that's exactly
with all
what
this
they are,
stuff. And I was having a discussion because
They're
we're
learning
talking
Excel in preschool.
yeah, exactly. Data entry.
Data entry.
There's going to be computers and robots that do that anyway. I don't know why they. But I'm a little older, so when I went through school, there wasn't really a lot of talk about ADD, but I for sure had it because I would get either really good grades or really bad grades. So I was talking to a friend about it, and I was like, if you think about it, it wasn't because my mind what they were doing couldn't keep me occupied. It wasn't my fault, you know what I mean, or it couldn't keep me interested. It's I don't know. I just
think
feel
I'm
bad
starting
for
to
kids.
develop ADD in the cubicle.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I just can't stay focused.
Yeah, it's hard.
I have a new coffee addiction. Like I just drink coffee all the time now.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that
started
helps,
drinking
right?
coffee like
Just
3
to
years
stay
ago.
awake. Yeah. I never drank coffee in college. Like I didn't need it. And
Yeah,
now,
me
like,
either.
now
I
I'm just
didn't
like-
start drinking coffee until I was like 26 or 27.
Yeah.
And like I've been drinking it now for a couple
It's
years.
a game changer, man.
Yeah, it really
I'm
is.
addicted to it.
It is. It's nice.
I started
It's
later
nice.
also, but I only try to have it in the morning because if it's at night, I will not sleep. I
Yeah.
already don't sleep anyway at night. I go to bed really late, but yeah, it'll be. I remember one time, I don't know if it was coffee or tea or what I had, but it was probably around 8 or 9 at night that I had it. I was up till like 6 in the morning because like I
Cocaine.
had to DJ. Yeah, it was
Cocaine.
cocaine.
It was actually
If I did cocaine, it would probably be noon or maybe even the next day. I would just never sleep. I would be like Len Bias. My heart would explode on
Oh, there-
contact. That
Have
guy.
you seen that 30 for 30? It's the most.
No.
I just
Which
started
one?
watching about Len Bias.
But I was in
Uh,
preschool, or not preschool. I was in grade school when he died, I
Really?
think. So it was just like
was he supposed to be like, huge? Like he was the hope of the Celtics?
I wasn't really into basketball yet, but I just remember they came in because they were already like say no to drugs and like, see what happens. He only tried it once, and they just shoved it down our throat.
And I think his brother died like a couple years after him from something else, like something drug related. I
That's
don't know.
crazy.
Really?
Some people just can't handle their drugs. That's why they got to get
Sad.
them started young, preschool.
They're-
Data
they're-
entry,
data
Excel,
entry
and cocaine.
Business
Drink your
suits.
Red Bulls, kids.
Drink your Red Bulls,
How
kid.
funny would that be if you walk into preschool and it's just a line of cubicles and kids in business suits, data entry, coke.
Funny / sad. Like, come on, you guys could go party on the weekends. Well, we got to work this Saturday.
Gotta
But
go to happy hour, but it's just nap time.
yeah. Oh man.
Make sure you punch in as soon as you walk in.
I've made some bad decisions at happy hours, guys. That's since I moved to New York. I think I've had like 12 different jobs or something in like 3 years. Just something
Really?
because it's all like freelance and seasonal work. So
So like, what's your like strategy for finding those jobs? Do you just search Craigslist or like,
yeah,
do you go through agencies?
First it was Craigslist or like when I was working on TV, it was like Mandy.com and then Indeed.com, and then like eventually like you get a job at one spot and then you just like see where other people, especially if it's a seasonal, like some of the TV shows in New York, they're only tape for like 3 months out of the year.
Oh, okay.
So everyone has to find work. So hopefully you can just talk to someone and be like, oh, what are you working on now? And then they need somebody.
Oh, okay.
And then with the temp agency, with the temp job, I just went through a temp agency.
Like, I feel like it'd be so like it would just be so nerve wracking to know that you're at the day jobs that you have are kind of just they're whatever. It's just to make ends meet. Like, do you ever
that's the
feel?
thing, you gotta go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, do you ever feel that pressure? Does it ever get to you?
No, I mean sometimes you just gotta keep that thought out of your head especially because you're doing stand up. Like at night you're gonna go out. Hopefully you have a good show, and then you can see what you want to be doing. So that's one of the coolest things about New York is like you're performing with people that actually do this full time. You never know who's gonna be on a show with you. And then like if you're walking down the street, because the Grizzly Pear and the Grizzly Pear is like a block away from the Comedy Cellar.
Yeah, not even really. It's
But by
kinda-
the time you get to the Comedy Cellar, like to perform there, your whole life could change. So you're like a block away, and that's just an insane thing to think about. Is like when I'm performing here now, but like when I'm performing down the street, like I could be a completely different person.
Yeah.
You see Dave Attell hanging out smoking a cigarette on the steps.
Yeah.
And you're like, I could perform there, and you hear about like Dave Chappelle doing an hour, and like him and Chris Rock hanging out on stage is like. That's insane. And
Yeah.
it's right next to where you're
Yeah.
bombing right
yeah,
now.
yeah. One day maybe I could bomb there too.
Yeah. Just keep hanging out. If you bomb, just keep hanging out, man.
Yeah, that's the key. Just let them know your
Just
face.
be that guy, yeah.
Have you like seen any shows at the Comedy Cellar?
I went to one show when I was doing my internship out there, but I always hang out at the Olive Tree. Like a lot of my friends have dinner there, or like they
Yeah,
just
it's
hang
upstairs,
out.
right?
Yeah, so like it's a really cool spot to hang out. I remember one time I used to be super nervous about going in there. I didn't want to go in there until I could
Yeah.
perform there, but like why not? So I remember one night I went in there. It was around Thanksgiving, and then like almost every table there was a comic. Like we all knew each other, and it felt like a family. Even though none of us performed there, but like every table had some comic that you know. So it just felt good to be there.
I've heard a lot of stories about like, isn't there like a legendary table like in the back?
Yeah,
or
the
corner?
comics table. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's, I would imagine. Did you sit there? Or did you see who was sitting
No,
there? That's like an elite kind of place, right?
Oh yeah. I remember when I interned out there. When I interned in New York, I was like 21, and I had no social skills, and I lingered around that table, and I was just that dude. But luckily, I didn't talk to anybody, so no one remembers me as that dude.
Nice.
Like I got drunk there one night, and I had a really long conversation with this comic that was performing, and they like thought I was asking too many questions. They thought I was like gonna steal their jokes, and like,
oh my god,
and they didn't remember that, so it was cool. 'Cause, like I was just a socially awkward kid, but now like I didn't make that big of an impression, so now it's like, all right, that never happened.
Yeah. We just erased that.
We just erased it. Yeah,
Maybe they were drunk, too.
only I remember that. He eats away at me, but he doesn't.
Yeah, he eats away at me exactly. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh.
yeah. The Cellar is a pretty magical place, from what I've heard.
You did comedy at the Cellar.
I did no, I did an open mic.
He didn't know but that's comedy at the
I
Cellar.
Did you get a picture on the stage?
I didn't know. It was the first open mic I ever did.
Really?
Back in 2006, yeah. I was kind of similar to you, where like I only did like one open mic every now and then for years.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't actually.
It doesn't count. I mean,
Yeah,
you're doing
it doesn't
but-
count. I probably did about a dozen or so in about 8 years' time.
Yeah.
But I started actually doing it like all the time, or consistently, like 2 years ago. But yeah, the first time I did it, I think it was like the last year, or one of the last years that they had an open mic
I
there.
didn't even know they did an open mic.
Yeah, they did one. I think it ended in 06 or maybe 07. But yeah, the host was Eric Rivera. Do you know Eric Rivera?
No, is he on Workaholics now or something?
No, he's like a Puerto Rican comic. He's still in the city. He still does spots like all over the city. Yeah, but he was the host back then, and I mean, I don't know. I feel like back then it wasn't like what it is today. Like it was always like it seemed like a good club, which is why I chose to do my first mic there, because I wanted to do it for the first time in the city, and I chose the Cellar because honestly a lot of it had to do with that documentary Comedian. Did you see the Jerry Seinfeld?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was obsessed with that movie when it first came out, and so much of that was filmed in the Cellar that I wanted to go there first. So I just went there, and it was like a Wednesday night at 5:00, and got up, did 5 minutes, and walked
You got
off.
hammered. You forgot to play that.
I got really drunk, and
it's a great story. I love it.
and then walked off, and I didn't think anything of it. And then I feel like a couple years after that, it turned into like the Cellar,
spot,
it turned into like, from being one of the spots, like along with Stand Up New York and Gotham and stuff, to suddenly like just launching into its own stratosphere, like being the spot.
It's just like, that's such a cool place to be. But like every club, as long as you know somebody there, it becomes more of a friendly environment.
That's
like
cool.
New York Comedy Club's a cool spot to hang out. Greenwich, Gotham, New York is just like, as long as you know someone that's there, like, and then they introduce you to people, like it's just cool to hang out and be part of something. Because like I said, when I was a kid, I didn't play sports, or I played tennis or whatever, but like it never got that unity feeling. And like doing stand up every night with the same people, it's just like, it's not a team sport, but it feels like you're part of a group.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and you have people to talk to that understand.
Exactly.
You know, if you bomb or if you do well or whatever it is, they understand your stories and the lingo and the jargon and everything.
People to talk to,
yeah, it's cool.
Do you feel like you can only really talk to comics? I know a lot of comics feel like, oh, I can't talk to regular people. I can only talk to comedians. Do you feel that way too?
I think I can reveal more of the comics, because most likely comics have had like something. They've had like a messed up life, or they have an interesting life. They know. Like I hate making small talk at my job. That's like the worst thing. It's like that Monday morning. How was your weekend? Oh, it was good. You feel it's so forced and just it's not interesting. Like I want to talk to a comic that has like an interesting story. Comics or musicians, people in the entertainment industry usually have like more interesting stories to tell. So like I can talk to normal people, but like it's just boring. You get more out of like a conversation with a comic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree totally.
I know. It's like, oh,
hey, how was your weekend?
I went to see a movie, and then I went to a bar, and then I went home.
Hey, Brandon, how was your weekend? Well, I was DJing for all these doctors, and they got really crazy. That was fun.
And then but then you feel bad when you actually have an interesting thing to say.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I went to my high school reunion, and it was just like within 5 minutes of me being there, everyone's like, "Oh, what have you been up to?" And I tell them, and then they're like, and then I'm like, "Oh, what have you been doing there?" Yeah, just
Yeah, exactly.
Was
yeah.
was your 5-year reunion?
yeah. Which is weird. I don't know why they even have a 5-year.
Yeah, it seems like nobody is going to accomplish
But
anything.
there's a
anyway.
dude that still works at the same restaurant he's been working at since high school, and then I went on this whole spiel about like, oh, living in New York doing stand up, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm still working at the same. I'm like, why do you want to why?
Yeah,
Still at Pizza Hut.
Why is still at Pizza Hut?
Yeah.
It's Taco Bell Pizza Hut now, but like they let me keep the job.
Yeah, they let me.
Let me keep it.
The Mexicans, when the Mexicans moved in, I thought that was it.
I've already been here for 6 years, so.
Nice. All right, we got about a minute left, so
All right.
it's already been an hour. If
Cool.
there's anything you want to plug or talk about more,
Yeah,
get it out there now.
Frigid Festival, Frigid, New York. Check out more information at MikeLemme.com. Hit me up on Twitter or Instagram at LemmyNYC. Thank you guys for having me. This was awesome.
And what were the dates of that again?
February 20th is the first show in New York. February 7th, I'm doing a show in Boston. And just, I think all the dates are at MikeLemme.com. I think,
Awesome.
as if I don't run the site.
All right, cool,
I think they're all
guys.
there, yeah.
Check them out at MikeLemme.com. And as always, you can find us at ComedyLOL.com. And we will see you guys soon.
All right, bye
All
bye.
right, bye.
Bye. That was cool.